If reward charts, good old-fashioned pep talks, and timers are not helping your ADHD kiddo with executive functioning skills struggles get any better at doing life, homework, school, you're not alone, and I'm going to tell you why. Best news, it's not your fault. It's not that a timer, it's not that paying attention to behavior, it's not that a good, conversation that you really connect with your child can't help improve executive functioning skills. When parents come to me and they've tried these strategies and they don't work, it's usually 100% of the time this one reason. It's a mismatch between the strategy and the area that their child struggles. Remember, there's 11 executive functioning skills, and no two humans have the same executive functioning skill, as I call it, profile, right? Everybody's got different strengths, weaknesses, and so does your child. So these generic strategies usually don't work for everybody, right? So the minute that you have somebody telling you, oh, this one is going to work for everybody without knowing a little bit about your kid and how your kiddo struggles, it's probably not going to work. And on the flip side, there are strategies that work wonderful and have really impacted the way ADHD shows up in your child life. It's really impacted your afternoon routines that work well. And I can guarantee you, it's not because the strategy is magic. It's probably because that strategy is directly the lever that your child needed to improve in that executive functioning skill. Now, with that being said, there are some general overarching things that we as parents can do that can actually help our kiddo. First thing, in the executive functioning guide, you got introduced to it in the last video. It's also linked below. We go ahead and break down what are the strengths of your kids and what are the areas that they need focus. So before you do anything, you need to keep in mind, what is your kid good at? And you can use my guide to figure it out, but you can also just take a look at, what are they good at? Wow, they're really disorganized. Their stuff is all over the place, but they remember where everything is. They remember instructions. They can read something and do really well with it at school. So I'm gonna guess their working memory is good. And I'm also gonna guess that their skill of organization probably needs a little bit of help. So just observing your child through the lens of executive functioning, you can learn so much about what they're doing well in and what areas they need help in. You can also get the guide, and it breaks it through step by step. Like I said, there are some general strategies that can help your child have a little bit of an easier time with their life. So I'm going to share them here. You can try them out with your kiddo and see if they work. The first one is for working memory, right? A lot of times our kids like to keep everything in their head. They don't write anything down. They want to remember everything, and epic fail. So we are going to share a little bit of our frontal lobe with them to help this memory piece be a little easier for them, right? We really can't do it at school because we're not at school with them, right? That's something they sort out at school. More and more schools are getting more excited about embedding executive functioning skills, but we're still a long way off. So we can only control what we control, right? So that's at home. So a Post-it, such a simple idea, but honestly, a lot of times we feel our kids should know how to do things, and they should know better by now, and they should have figured it out. So we need to get all of that out of our heads, because that is putting in limiting beliefs for us, right? We need to open up what ifs so we can come up with possibilities of how we can help the situation. First, figure out what you don't want to do. I don't want to be nagging 75 times. So, you know what? There's nothing wrong with a simple reminder. A Post-it in their bathroom mirror. A Post-it at the front door. A Post-it for you to give that one cue before you leave the house. So letting go of a lot of our limiting beliefs allows us to come in and put in the strategy that we need. In this case, that one may help for working memory if that's what your kiddo is struggling with. My favorite one for any kiddo that is struggling with getting started on a task initiation, is taking the big assignment, and we're going to break it down. It may look like, if they're in charge of cleaning up the kitchen is so many things, right? The counters, the sink, the dishwasher. What if we just broke it down to the dishwasher, right? Sometimes you have to break it down even more. What if we just broke it down to the silverware drawer? You see where I'm getting with this? And we know that starting a task is basically your sweet spot to finishing it. So if we could get them to start the task, they're gonna have more success in completing it. And if we make the task really small, right? We're looking for them to complete the task, get started with the task, then all of a sudden they were able to do it, and they practice that task initiation piece. We still have to deal with the rest of the kitchen. We can maybe do that together, but they were 100% independent with that dishwasher piece, for example. Same thing applies to school assignments, right? If they have, 50 math problems due by Friday, oh my gosh, emotional control goes out the window. Let's help them break it down. We're only going to do 10 per day. No more, no less. If 10 is too much, we're going to do 5 when we get home from school, 5 before you go to bed. You figure it out. Basically, you're taking the giant task and you're breaking it down into a small, doable piece. Now, emotional control is almost the hardest one, but is the most important one. And while I don't know your specific situation at home, I do know that the first way we can dampen that fight or flight is by letting them know that it's not them against us. It's not them against whatever set them off at school or their siblings. Just letting them know, wow, that sounds like it was really difficult. That's it. That all of a sudden takes them out from these big emotions. Not that the emotions are gone, but it does not escalate it. So sometimes with this emotional control, what we don't want to do is escalate it. And many times our very, very good intentions of, well, it's not that bad, well, you should try harder, well, it'll be different. All that does is escalate at a time where our brain is in, their brain, maybe our brain too, is in fight or flight. So whether it's these 3 strategies that I shared with you, or you need other ones, the best way to figure out what the 3 strategies are and what everybody should figure out is what 2 or 3 things is your kiddo good at in regards to executive function. Remember, we're putting on the executive functioning binoculars, right? And what 2 or 3 things are they really struggling with? Is it procrastination? Is it organization? Is it being flexible? And that's exactly what my next video is going to walk you through. So see you in the next video.